Hey, let's talk about domain. So you might have noticed that as we've been looking at relationships, for example, y equals 1 over x, there may be some numbers that are legal to plug in for x, but other numbers that are actually illegal to plug into x. So if you notice, you can't plug in 0 in for x. 1 over 0, that is an undefined quantity. So 0 is actually illegal to plug in for x. So here's what the domain is. The domain is the collection, or the set, of all legal numbers that you can plug in for x. All of the legal ones that you can plug in for x, that's your domain. Let's try to find the domain of this relationship. Y is equal to 2x divided by x squared plus 7x plus 10. Now if you remember about domain, it's all the legal numbers that you can plug in. So we need to figure out which numbers we cannot plug in. Of course, you know with fractions you cannot divide by 0, so we need to figure out what numbers make the denominator equal to 0. These are the illegal numbers. Well, to solve this, we could use the quadratic formula, we could factor, got a bunch of different options. Let's factor. Once you factor it, you have x plus 5 times x plus 2 is equal to 0, so you just look when each factor individually is equal to 0. These are now our illegal numbers, the numbers that we cannot plug in. If we did, we would be dividing by 0, and that is no good. So the domain is written as an interval from negative infinity until, what's the first number that we can't plug in? Negative 5. Okay, so we're going to cut that one out. Then we're going to put a U for union, negative 5 to negative 2, union, negative 2 to infinity. So what we did here is we took negative infinity to infinity, and we pulled out the numbers negative 5 and the number negative 2. Another way that you might see this written is like this. It's a little quicker way to write it with these curly braces, and basically all you do is you say that x cannot be equal to negative 5, x cannot be equal to negative 2. Let's try another one. Let's find the domain of this relationship. Y is equal to the square root of 5 minus 2x. So you think about things that can and can't happen with square roots, and you probably know that it is illegal to plug in negative numbers to square roots. In other words, we can't plug in numbers which make 5 minus 2x negative. Translating this, another way to write this is that we need 5 minus 2x to be greater than or equal to 0. This is just a simple inequality to solve, so let's go through the steps. Subtract 5, divide by negative 2, but remember, when you divide by a negative, the inequality sign switches. So we have figured out that the numbers that you can plug in for x are all of those that are less than or equal to 5 over 2. How do we write this? Well, we can write it as an interval. All the numbers less than or equal to 5 over 2 can be written as negative infinity to 5 over 2. And we put a closed bracket on 5 halves because of the inequality. Check it out. It's x is less than or equal to. Because of that equality there, that's why we put a closed bracket. Now it's your turn to practice. Try to find the domains of these two relationships. So it's a combination of issues that we faced earlier. In the first one, we have a fraction with a square root in the denominator, and in the second one, we have a fraction with a square root in the numerator and some issues possibly arising in the denominator. After you complete those, think about other roots, meaning cube roots or fourth roots. What's okay to plug into a cube root? Can you plug in negative numbers? Are those okay? Think about this kind of thing. Same with fourth roots.